A belief is something that you decide is the truth. It doesn't make it real. How can you let religion tell you who you can? How can you let religion tell you that the child that came up out your stomach that you carried for 9 months and took care of for 18 years, you can't even pick up the phone and say hi? Hope everyone's having a great day. This is Lee. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time. I just didn't really know how to present it because I have a lot to say about this subject, but I didn't want to make this video too long. So I may just do a couple of videos in regards to this. So I just wanted to talk about basically whatever the title that I decide that it's going to be. Being a Jehovah's Witness, being shunned by your family. So let me give you my story. This is my story. So I know for some, you may not agree with what I have to say because people are sensitive when it comes to mothers and talking bad about somebody's mother or your own mother. I just want to just say that I'm not trying to bash my mother. I'm just telling you my story, okay? So I'll just give you a little bit of backstory about when we became Jehovah's Witnesses, or basically when this came into our life. Okay, so when I was about I was about 6 or 7. No, more like 7 or 8 years old. I was probably about, let's just say between 6 and 7 years old. I'm originally from New York. That's where I was born. We moved to California probably 1980, 1979 when my mom was pregnant with my brother. My mom was not always a Jehovah's Witness. She wasn't brought up religious, going to church or anything like that, because my grandmother, my great-grandmother, they weren't into the church like that. So I know my grandmother prayed. She had a Bible, but did I ever hear my grandmother ever quote a verse or anything like that or talk about church? No, but my mom became a Jehovah's Witness. I think I was 7 years old, and we lived in New York. It was my mom. I lived with my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt, which is my mother's sister. She was mentally challenged, mentally handicapped. So my grandmother took care of her all her life. So we all lived in New York in big house in Queens, and my mom, I'm just gonna try to fast forward a lot of things. I'm gonna probably, just graze right over. So my mom met someone who introduced her to, let me back up. My mom wanted to change her life, whatever that she was going through. She wanted to change her life, and the next day, some Jehovah's Witnesses knocked on the door, and I guess that's what she manifested. She manifested becoming a Jehovah's Witness. So they knocked on the door. She started going to Bible study and all that good shit. Going to the Kingdom Hall, got baptized. We were still living in New York at the time with my grandmother. We always celebrated the holidays, Christmas, birthdays, stuff like that. I remember specifically when my mom started, I don't know if she was baptized at this time or she was just really deep into studying it. But I remember not celebrating Christmas as a child for the first time. I remember my grandma brought all the stuff out to get the tree together and all that, and we do every year, decorate the tree. And I don't know about y'all, but we used to have these we would decorate the tree with traditional Christmas stuff at that time. Damn, why is there a fly in here? See? But we used to also have these candy corns or whatever. We used to decorate the tree with these, not candy corn like the stuff you eat in Halloween, but the popcorn balls that's made like of think of Cracker Jacks, but in a ball. I remember we used to put that on there, and it just was great times. And this one year, my mom was going to go visit her friend. I don't know why I remember her name was Lynn, and who was also a Jehovah's Witness. And my grandmother told my mom she was going to be going out, going to her friend Lynn's house or whatever. And she said, do not let her decorate the tree, talking about me. Don't let Leslie, I go by Lee, but my government name is Leslie. Don't let Leslie, decorate the tree because we're not celebrating Christmas anymore and yada yada this. I remember that too. So my grandma was like, okay. And I remember my mom left. My grandmother was like, don't tell your mom. But she probably don't even know to this day. Don't tell your mom, but you can help decorate the tree. Just don't tell your mom. You know I did. I was like 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that. So anyway, fast forward, my mom got pregnant with my brother while we still lived in New York. She slipped, sinned. This is after she was baptized. She got pregnant. I think it was the next door neighbor. He was Haitian or whatever. And Anyway, she got pregnant by him. Me and my brother have different fathers. So my family all originate from back east from New York. So, but my mom never ever been married or anything like that to either one of our fathers. So anyway, my mom got married to my mom got pregnant with my brother. And I guess she was just trying to get away from everything. That's what she said. But you know how back in the day, parents don't tell their kids shit because it's none of our business. Okay, it's grown folks shit. But she was like, wanted to get away from everything. And she moved all the way 3,000 miles to fucking LA. So we get out here to LA, left all family. We had nothing but the clothes in our suitcase and the clothes on our backs. My mom took that leap. I guess she thought, being a parent now, I understand sometimes we make decisions that may not always be the best decision for our families or for our children, but she felt the need to move 3,000 miles away from everything and from my grandmother and everything to move and have a fresh start. Basically she was running, okay? She was running because she was pregnant with my brother and everything. She was all the way out here. Well, not here because I'm not in LA. But we moved to LA. So anyway, we moved from LA, then we moved to Sacramento. So I think we moved to Sacramento like after my brother was born, which was 1980. So probably 81, because I think he was like 6 months old or 8 months old or something like that. We had hard times ever since when we lived out here, and I grew up really poor when we moved from New York. I grew up very poor. My mom, she worked when I was when I was like 6, 7 years old, before we moved out to California. She used to work at the World Trade Center as a legal secretary. And my mom moved out to California and she never worked. She didn't work until I think I was a junior. I know for sure when I was a senior in high school. So we was brought up on welfare, free cheese, food closets, shit like that. I guess a part of me resented my mom when I got older. Like, why didn't you ever do anything to not bring us up like that? But I think my mom really wanted to just devote her time to just being there, raising us probably, I guess, I don't know. But I know that she wanted to just, be a Jehovah's Witness, go door to door and all that shit. I don't know if she felt like she couldn't do that work. I don't know, because Jehovah's Witnesses, they do work. They got careers. They're doctors, Jehovah's Witnesses, they're lawyers, people in big fields of study with careers that does, do that. So anyway, fast forward, let's get up until I was always a good kid, never gave my mom no problems, no shit like that. We went to Kingdom Hall, study. When I was 14 years old, I wanted to get baptized. You have to study these answers or study, and then I can't remember if it was out of a specific book. I don't remember if it was a pamphlet. I really don't remember, but you have to study and go before the couple of elders in a congregation and answer these questions. And it's been so long. This is when I was 14. I'm 50 now, so it's been a very long time. But I'm trying to give you the gist of everything. So I did that. I got baptized because I wanted to. That's what I know by this point. I mean, we've been Jehovah's Witnesses for like 6, 7 years. So I guess one of the hardest things probably being a Jehovah's Witness as a child is having to explain, oh, you know, when you're little, when it's Christmas time, Valentine's, Thanksgiving, why you're not making little turkey cutouts for Thanksgiving, or why you're not bringing something for Halloween so y'all can have the little class party, or how come you're not saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And side note, I don't say the Pledge of Allegiance now because I just don't believe in the Pledge of Allegiance. That's just my conscious choice to not do it, because it had nothing to do with black people, freedom, or anything like that. So I just don't. But anyway, I digress. Why, I'm dismissed, but it still makes you feel left out. Even if you ain't putting your hand on your heart, you still feel left out, not saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So you feel left out in a lot of activities. I couldn't have any friends because not like any of my friends from Jehovah's Witnesses went to my school. So I didn't hang out with any friends, which I guess was kind of okay, because I've always been the type of person that stayed to myself. Even now, I don't have friends. I've had friends throughout life, but I'm okay. Like, I guess because I'm a Gemini, I don't know. I'm okay not having friends. I don't get lonely when it comes to stuff like that. So, I could take it or leave it or whatever. I like my space so much. It's hard for me to really commit to being in a deep friendship with another woman or whatever. So, and I say that because obviously I'm married. I'm not going to be having a deep relationship with another man that's a friend. So, but I used to have male friends, and anyway, so it didn't bother me like a lot that I couldn't associate with other kids in school, but I sure would have liked the opportunity to be able to have friends if I wanted to. Because, I was a kid. You want somebody, sometimes little girlfriends to come over and spend a night or whatever, somebody in school that because that's how we make our friends. You know what I'm saying? Is in school. And, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Some fucking fly got in the house. So anyway, what am I saying? So yeah, I couldn't have any friends or whatever. So and the only way I can like bring anybody over to the house or anything like that, if they were non-Jehovah's Witnesses, is if I was, studying or talking to them about the Bible or something like that. So, because we're always encouraged to be preaching to people. You know how Girl Scouts got to always be selling with them cookies? You know what I'm saying? We always had to be preaching. Okay, always had to be trying to bring somebody into the organization, studying the Bible with and all that shit. It's a lot of pressure. So I don't know how much I'm assuming that most people who clicked on this video know some of the background about Jehovah's Witnesses and what you can and cannot do. I don't know as of 2022 what you can and cannot do as a Jehovah's Witness. So I just know that we were not encouraged. I'm not saying we couldn't go to college or anything like that, but there's a lot of things that we were discouraged of doing. You could not read any other religious books, publications, anything like that. You weren't allowed to look at scary movies. We weren't even allowed to watch Smurfs. Anybody who remembers Smurfs, they said that Smurfs were demonic. And then they were saying that there was a story where somebody had like a little Smurf doll in one of the Kingdom Halls, and that it got up and ran out the Kingdom Hall and stuff. When people be telling you shit so you don't do it and you believe that shit, that's why Jehovah's Witnesses, they're cults. It's called cult, not occult, cult. So, just things like that. They really have it to where this is a time where kids should be with other children. They shouldn't have to be like, oh, I can't be with other kids because I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. You got to play on the playground by yourself and shit. You can't do nothing. And so I was like, but you get used to it, and having to explain, oh, how come, Leslie can't, how come she's leaving early or whatever, and they having their little Christmas parties or giving out Valentines and shit like that, and I couldn't do none of that. But then I got older, and I was still okay with it. And I remember, I'm so sorry. There's one fly that keeps flying around. I am so fucking sorry if I'm distracting anyone doing this. I'm sorry. Somebody don't want me to talk about this. So anyway, I remember I was scared of my mom. Like, I didn't sneak around too much and do shit, because you're afraid your mama gonna find out. And back in the day, you used to get our ass whooped and wasn't no CPS, no shit like that. So, I didn't want to do nothing. I was a good kid and everything. But I remember Oh my God. I remember okay, so you know how to get sex education, and you know there's big issue. There's a lot of controversy going on now about kids being taught about gender and sexuality and stuff right now. So just imagine, like, back in the day, you don't talk about any of that stuff, and then being Jehovah's Witness, you know, they don't believe in homosexuality, or not believe in, but they don't believe that you're a good person if you're homosexual, or if you know, your sexuality is different. So that's just a very strict religious group. And my mom stuck to mainly all the teachings that they had. My mama stuck to it. So, you know, it just got hard, you know, being a kid. But I just remember, you know, having to go to Kingdom Hall and go door to door and stuff like that. It becomes part of your life and everything. And, you know, you just know one thing. So if you're taught, don't do this, don't do that, you're just taught this one thing. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses are taught, and they believe. Their belief system is, if you're not basically a Jehovah's Witness, when the end of the world comes, Armageddon, which is the final thing, but before that, the Great Tribulation, that you're not going to be saved, or that if you don't make it through Armageddon, you're not going to be able to see your loved ones resurrected again, or you're not going to be able to live forever, because that's the whole thing. You're going to live in you forever. It's almost like I equate it to, it sounds like a utopia or something like that, you know. So, you know, growing up with that was the belief. They used to be like, you can't read any other publications or anything like that. Now I understand, because of course I'm woke. When I say woke, I mean I'm not asleep on things that I was sleeping on before. You know what I'm saying? So now I know, oh, they didn't want us talking about or reading other articles because it opens your mind and shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't do this or it's gonna open your mind. You know how in the Bible scripture, now I'm only referring to the Bible, not because I follow the Bible, because I believe that it's a very esoteric book. Not everything in that book is literal. We have to remember they were written by men, even though they want to say that it was inspired by God, but there was a lot of things that if it was inspired by God, every single scroll would have made it in that Bible. That book is edited. I respect it because it's old, it's esoteric, and it's a part of history. So with that being said, I know in the Bible, for people who believe in these things, you know, where it says that Satan, or the serpent, which we all know is supposed to represent Satan, the serpent came down and told, you know, Adam and Eve basically why they can't eat from this tree of life, the tree of life, even though they kind of make it, oh, it was an apple tree, is this tree? It was the tree of life. If she eats from it, or if they eat from this tree of life, this fruit from this tree of life, that their minds will be open, and they're bound to be like God. Their minds will be open, some shit like that. I do have a Bible in here, because it's my grandmother's Bible. So I do have it. And like I said, I respect it as a book, as a very old book. And I wish I should have got it so I could have read it verbatim. So forgive me. Don't be trying to come correct me what it says. You get the gist. So it's basically the same thing. Oh, if you do this, don't read other books. Don't look at other, you know, shows that's going to talk about anything that's not about Jehovah or about the religion. You know, this is before the internet and everything. I can only imagine what it would be like now trying to be a Jehovah's Witness. Like now, I don't even know how they do it, you know, with these kids growing up and have access to way more stuff. You know, back then we ain't had this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they tell us not to do that, but now I see why they tell us that, because when you start opening your mind to other things, other thoughts, other people, start reading things, you start questioning things that you were brought up learning, you were told, you believe, because that's all religion. I don't care who you are. You can be Baptist, Protestant, Seventh-day Adventist, Latter-day Saints, all that shit. You can be whatever. You know, at the end of the day, they're all cults. They tell you that this is where you have to be. This is where you have to conform to. Okay? And it's just so sad. I wish I knew back then. I wish my mom would have never got into this and realized that at the end of the day, it's just another group of people telling you what you can and cannot do, and putting fear. Oh, if you don't live your way, your life this way, not Jehovah's Witnesses, but other religions, oh, you're going to burn in hell, or you're not going to make it to heaven. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses, it's not that they don't believe in that hell as far as, you know, when you die, you're going to be burning forever and Satan's going to just torture you, or heaven, they believe that there's 144,000 that's chosen. But as far as heaven, like, oh, they don't believe that when you die, you go to heaven like that. But that, you know, they believe that when you die, you're going to be resurrected after Armageddon and all this shit. So, and with other religions, they keep the fear in you by saying, oh, if you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell, or you're not going to get to heaven. So you do what you're supposed to do and kind of live your life like a Christian. Even if you backpedaling and sitting on the fence, you still doing your minimum. And then they're like, oh, you got to pay tithes or this is going to happen to you. You know, all that shit that they do to pretty much brainwash you. People walking around here talking about, oh, the government does this, the government does that, but ain't nobody talking about the clergyman, the preacher, the Baptist, the deacon, and everybody other, the elder in the congregation, everybody else trying to keep your mind closed, trying to keep you like this, like puppets. So I know that was a little bit of a rant, but I'm very passionate about this. And I'm saying all that to say this, is that my mom chose religion over having a family unit. So as I was saying, growing up, you know, you're not supposed to be around anybody else, or, you know, that's not Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. Okay, so like I said, I was baptized at 14, doing everything I'm supposed to do as a Jehovah's Witness, going door to door. I probably rang on your doorbell. I probably rang your doorbell, knocked on your door, trying to preach to your mama at some time, okay? So, and, you know, did that. Then when I was about 19 years old, so I was working, you know, I worked ever since I had a job, like a legit, I've always worked since I was 12. I'm sorry, since I was like 13, 14, doing like house cleaning for maybe like some other sisters in the congregation or whatever, little stuff like that to try to make some little extra coins. But then when I turned the legal age, you can be here, I think you could be 15 and a half or something like that. And this is, like I said, back in the 80s, and you can have a work permit. So I always worked, you know, I always had a job and everything. I filed my first taxes when I was 16. Like I said, my mom was on welfare. Nobody's claiming me. I filed my first taxes when I was 16 years old. And got a tax return. So, you know, I worked and everything, but I wasn't allowed to like be talking or making no friends or nothing like that. But anyway, so when I turned 18, I was working at this specific place. It was called Sizes Unlimited over on Florin Road. If any of y'all from South Sacramento or from Sacramento, in South Sacramento, I started working there. Time went on. I was talking to this. There used to be this young boy, this young black boy that used to walk by all the time, and I thought he was kind of cute. Anyway, I got my first kiss. It was him when I was 19. We didn't do nothing else. That was my first kiss at 19. Then I met my daughter's father when I was 20 years old, because I lost my virginity when I was 20. Not lost, gave it away. Gave it away, child. Gave it away. I hate when people say lost your virginity. Unless somebody took it and you just gave that shit up, I gave it up stupidly. But anyway, so when I turned 20, this is where it all gets good, okay? So when I was 20 and I had sex for the first time, or actually, oh my God, let me back up before that. A little bit before that, I started seeing this girl I was working with. Her parents her mom was a Jehovah's Witness at a time. So we kind of had a similar background. So I remember her brother used to come up there and he was real cute and I wanted a bad boy and everything like that. I know one of my other videos I said that I've always been attracted to, you know, white guys. I used to like white boys and stuff like that. But at this time I wanted me a bad boy. You know, I wanted something, and I didn't realize it at the time. I wanted like something so total opposite of what was brought up. I didn't know it at the time, but you know, I wanted somebody, you know, that song, you want a roughneck nigga? That's exactly what I wanted. And that's exactly what I got, okay? Ain't nothing good about it. So any of y'all been one of them, you'll know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I met him. I was trying to sneak around, have little dates to meet him. And then one day, you know, I was ready to give it up. I was ready to have sex. I told him I'm ready to have sex. We had sex, boom, bam, boom. Exactly like that. And at that point I was like, I can't live with my mom no more. I didn't want to sneak around, because I got tired lying to my mom that, oh, I'm going to the library. Because then she's like, well, why don't you take your brother with you? And I'd be mad and stuff. I'm like, why she want me to take my brother with me to the library? I'm just telling her I'm going to the library so I can meet my little boyfriend and everything. And you know, so I was trying to get out the house and do shit and everything. And then I remember when I was working, I was working down the street from this like little store. It almost reminded me of like, what is that one fucking store? Oh my God, my mind went blank. Anyway, it's this little store down in the strip mall where I worked at. And I remember I put me some clothes on layaway and everything. And my boyfriend, he was like, he ended up getting my stuff off of layaway for me or whatever. And so I was working, but I brought my clothes home and I hung up all my clothes. And I guess my grandmother told me, my grandmother still lived in New York at this time. Excuse me. But my grandmother had told me that my mom had went, like, I guess when I wasn't home, she went through my stuff and was like, talking shit about me about, oh, what is she doing? She got these clothes in here. And I guess my mom she started, you know how parents, we smart. She started figuring out probably I was talking to somebody. I don't know. I was still going to the Kingdom Hall and everything. But I was like, I don't even want this anymore. I'm like, I didn't want to keep lying to my mother. And I wanted to have sex. So I'm like, I don't want to be sneaking around, trying to fuck around and shit and try to lie to my mama. So I'm like, you know what, I'm out of here. So I went out and got my own apartment. So, and even then when I went to get my own apartment, my mom wouldn't verify. It was just a whole bunch of shit. Then me and my mom got into a big fight. So this is where everything took ahead. Me and my mom got into a big argument. But when I say argument, she was doing all the yelling because I ain't like I'm gonna argue with my mama. Even then, I'm 20, still scared of my mama because she put hands on me. So, when I came home and told her that I was moving, all she could say is, be sure you pay the SMUD bill. SMUD is our utility company, Sacramento Municipal Utility District. So I was paying, when I was a teenager, it's not like I had the coins to myself. It's like I had a little bit to buy me some little school clothes. And then I gave my mom half my checks. Okay, and I worked during the summertime, working 40 hours a week, during the summer. And then I was working also when I was in high school. I worked while I was in high school. By law, you can only work 20 hours or something like that a week. So I worked throughout high school too. So I give my mom all my money and everything. But she got my little check and everything. So she was like, I came home and I told my mom, oh, I'm moving. And she's like, oh, be sure you pay the SMUD bill. And she was just acting like a real bitch. Like, oh my gosh, she just... we got into it, and then she was like telling me that I'm gonna end up being with a man that's gonna beat my ass. She didn't say the word ass or beat your ass, just like beat my butt. She like manifesting and speaking all this shit up over my life and everything. And boy, was she right. I ended up being with 2 abusive motherfuckers. So, but yeah, just how she was. And when I left the house, and then she made sure when I moved my little bit of shit out, my clothes, and I think I left my bed there, and I didn't have no furniture when I got my first apartment. So I think I just took all my clothes. I left my cat at the time I left her there. And, I got my own apartment. And then, but before that, then I got my own apartment. Life was fucked up. I made horrible decisions. Then I got pregnant with my daughter. Same year I moved out, had her right before I turned 21. Me and my mom wasn't talking. I wasn't Jehovah's Witness. I wasn't going back to the Kingdom Hall or anything like this. But I just felt like, because I was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness so long, I was like, wow, maybe my life is so fucked up because I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. When you in a cult, you sometimes, I forgot that word, you got a oh my God, I can't think of the terminology, but it's like when people go through trauma, sometimes you have to get rid of that trauma. It's not healing, but it's something else. When they even have a whole organization for people who are coming out of cults, like David Koresh type of cult. Those like strong cults too. I can't think of the word right now. But so I still have that mentality. Maybe I need to be back being a Jehovah's Witness. That's why my life is so fucked up. So I forgot how I did it, but I contacted the Kingdom Hall, or the elders of the Kingdom Hall, told them, hey, I want to come back, be a Jehovah's Witness. This is after I had my daughter, okay? They sent elders to your house, okay? Men, they sent the elders to my house, to my apartment. They came up there, I told them, they asked you all your business, your life story, and all this and that. I was very lucky that they didn't ask me too deep of sexual questions, because I had a friend who... we used to go to the same Kingdom Hall, but we weren't friends, but we knew of each other because our families, like I said, we went to the same Kingdom Hall. And one day I was sneaking around at the movies. Now I remember I was gonna see Bodyguard, and that's what Whitney Houston was in that, and the other dude. And I was with my boyfriend, ended up being my daughter's father at the time, but I'll say Michael because that's what his name was. I ended up being with Michael, that's my first boyfriend. And I was like, I seen her. I was like, I didn't know she wasn't a Jehovah's Witness no more. So I was like, I forgot we was in the bathroom or what happened. I think I told him, I'm like, oh, I said, she goes to the same Kingdom Hall as my mom. I was like, oh, I hope she don't go snitch. And then me and her was talking. I think we ended up exchanging numbers, and she was there sneaking around too. So I'm like, we 20 years old, right? Sneaking. 20. We ain't 16. We 20 sneaking. Okay, this is before I moved out, before I got the apartment, even right before I even had sex. So anyway, this same girl, when I had to talk to the elders, I remember, like I said, we still kind of kept in contact, and she told me that she was sneaking her boyfriend in a closet. She was still living at home, going to Kingdom Hall, but she had him like sneak in her closet. He was there or whatever. And then when she had to go before the elders, they were asking her like deep sexual questions, like, did she have an orgasm? Did she enjoy sex and stuff like that? And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that they ask shit like that. Like, that's so inappropriate. Like, no man, I don't care if you claim that you the man of God, should be asking no girl that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they didn't ask me that kind of stuff. They just asked me some other general questions. And I truly wanted to give up the life that I had. It's not like I was doing anything bad. I didn't get out there. I wasn't prostituting. I only had sex with one man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing drugs. At this point, I don't even think I ever even smoked any weed. Okay, I was hardly drinking, maybe some little wine cooler. So I wasn't like living my life bad, but I was fornicating. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was fucking. You know, so that's probably the only real sin that I was doing. So, I'm sorry. No, by this time, I think when I told the elders, I did smoke weed like one time. So anyway, I told them all. I told them that too. I told them everything. And so they put me on reproof. They didn't disfellowship me. And reproof is just basically discipline. So if you were a Jehovah's Witness, you already know what that is. But they just put me on reproof because I was very repentant. And I don't know how they decide on what to do or whatever, but I wasn't disfellowshipped or anything. So I started going back to the Kingdom Hall, and a sister, they're called sister, like brothers and sisters in the congregation, a sister. So when I say that, her name was Angela. She ended up becoming apostate too. But anyway, because she was supposedly one of the 144,000, because these people are chosen, specifically chosen. So I'm not going to get deep into that, but if you were Jehovah's Witness, you know what that is. But if you weren't, you'd have to probably look at some documentaries about that. But anyway, my friend, she started studying the Bible with me, and then I was like, you know what, I just want to keep coming back to Kingdom Hall. And then going door to door was very hard for me. After not going for so long, it was almost like I didn't want to be embarrassed. I'm like, oh, what if somebody I was at the club with and I'm at their door and shit? You know what I'm saying? It's all like same neighborhood that I was living in and going to the clubs in. And so I'm like, so anyway, I started doing that. My mom at the time, we started kind of getting a relationship. You know, she came over, saw her granddaughter. You know, she didn't want to be called grandma. She came over, saw my daughter and everything. And fast forward to that, I wasn't working when I had my daughter. So I stopped working when I had my daughter. I was not working. So I started working, it was called the Sacramento Bee. I was working in customer service. My mom kind of helped set up the interview for me or whatever, because I was going to the Kingdom Hall. My mom was helping me with daycare with my daughter. My brother is 8 years younger than me. So at the time, he was an older teenager, however old that is, or mid-teenager, whatever. He watched my brother, or my daughter. I would drop my daughter off because my mom was working like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever, and I'll come to work like at noon or 1. And so when she gets home, she'll watch my daughter, and I'll come pick my daughter up. First time that my mom, just like she let religion get involved. That's not the first time, actually. That's not the first time. I'm gonna finish this so I don't digress. But it was a few times. My mom seen me before, but we didn't talk. After I moved out of my mom's house, we didn't talk. Obviously, me and my mom didn't have no conversation. We didn't talk. My mom ran into me one day. I was walking across the parking lot from the store to go to my apartment, and my mom happened to just be in that parking lot at that time, coming from the bank. She pulled over, talked to me for a minute. I had lost a lot of weight because I've always been kind of like chubby, kind of struggling with my weight my whole life. So the last time she saw me, let's just say I weighed 180 pounds or 160 pounds because I got chicken pox right before I moved out. So I lost a lot of weight. But then I was still kind of like bigger when my mom saw me. So when she saw me that last time, I probably was like 125 by that time. So it's just because I'm single and living on my own. You know, you ain't hardly eating. You know, by this time I was living by myself and shit. So anyway, my mom went to my grandmother and told her that she thought I had AIDS because I was skinny. So anyway, that's the first time she disrespected me. But anyway, once I started going back to the Kingdom Hall, my mom's like, okay, you know, we can start developing a relationship and everything. We was doing cool. I go to my mom's house. We be kicking it. We used to drink margaritas and stuff because you're allowed to drink. We have margaritas, be playing Tetris and stuff. I go see my mom, then I, you know, go back home, whatever, or I spend the night. We just used to kick it and everything, you know what I'm saying? So we had a good relationship. But then after a while, I started not wanting to go to the Kingdom Hall, but I was still making my meetings. I was working the hours that I can work so I could still go to, when I say meetings, I mean going to the Kingdom Hall. You go. We was going Sunday, Tuesday night, and then Thursday for book study. So the Sunday and the Tuesday meetings were about 2 hours. The one on Thursday was just a book study, so that's just an hour, right? So I was still making it to my book studies and everything, going to the Kingdom Hall, but I needed to change my job because I wasn't making enough money, and I'm trying to make more money. You know what I'm saying? I have a daughter to take care of. I have a rent to pay. I was trying to just get a better job and make more money. So I took a job that was retailing. You know, retail got them fucked up hours, so where you work till closing or whatever. So I started working, and my mom was kind of concerned. She's like, well, you're gonna start working and basically I'm not gonna be making it to the meetings. I was working and everything. My mom, I want to say, for anybody's like, oh, it's nice that your mom watched your daughter. She didn't watch her for fucking free. I had to pay my brother. She made me pay my brother money to watch his niece. So I paid him some money or whatever. One time I was late in the payment. My mom made a big deal of it. So my mom didn't do motherfucking shit for free. Okay. So anyway, I started like not going to some of the meetings because of my schedule and shit. And then I started losing interest. Well, I went to pick up my daughter one day, and she said, my mom sat me down, and you know, he goes, gonna sit down with the Bible and shit, and was like, oh, you know, basically because I stopped going to the Kingdom Hall and going to meetings and stuff. Oh, and remember I said I was on reproof. Well, I finally got off. So just so y'all, I wanted to say that too. By this time I was off reproof. Because I started going back probably for about a year, I think, to the Kingdom Hall. And she sat me down. She's like, well, I can't be around you anymore because whatever scripture she tried to bring up. And like, basically she said that I was worldly. She said I was worldly and that. So if you don't know what worldly mean, I'll equate it to heathen, sinner, like that. You might as well just equate it to that, okay? Because everybody calls something different, but in the Bible it says worldly. So since I was worldly, she could not be around me anymore, and she wasn't gonna watch my daughter no more. Now granted, we ain't had the internet back then, so I can just go look up and try to find some daycare. My mom said that night was the last night she was gonna help me in watching my daughter. She didn't give me no warning, nothing. I had to scramble around. I had to take my daughter to work the next day. I had to let them know. And I worked at the Diamond Center. So it's not like I just had a job where I could be bringing my child, but I had to let them know I got to take off, I think like a week and a half, 2 weeks, because I had no daycare. She left me high and dry. Throughout the years, I did go and try to see my mom. So there was a few times throughout, we'll just say throughout our history, that I did make the effort. And I was the one that even when we didn't talk for a long time, I would go see my mom. I just arbitrarily just go knock on her door and say, hey, and we would have conversations, but that would be the last time or I would just be one time. This is even after, I'm talking about after I still wasn't a Jehovah's Witness and we wasn't talking anymore. And then all the way till 2008, me and my grandmother always had a relationship. My grandmother retired and she moved to Florida from New York, and we always had a good relationship and everything. And my grandmother passed away. She was always there for me, and she passed away suddenly. I got a call at work that I guess she must have put me down as as an emergency contact. I remember I was at work. I was working at this collection agency one time. Like I said, this is 2008. I was in a new relationship. This is with actually my last ex-boyfriend that we were in a relationship for a while. Like 10 years, something like that. So anyway, they called me at work on my cell phone, and it was like, oh, basically they found my grandmother's body. My grandmother lived in Florida with my aunt. Like I said, my aunt is mentally handicapped. I guess my grandmother was dead for over a week, and she died. I guess they said heart on her death certificate. But her body, the way they found her body is because they, apartments, they'll do a maintenance check or whatever, and they smelled it. They smelled her. So, yeah. That happened, so I'm like, okay. And I was just kind of shocked that, I got called. I'm sorry. Me and my mom actually started developing a relationship. We started hanging out after this. Like, I guess my grandmother's death brought us together. She would come over, I'll go over there. She made her famous mac and cheese. My ex-boyfriend at the time when we was together, because she was dogging him out at first too, but then, she was cool with him. We were just cool. My brother would come over and he was playing like with my son. They'd be playing video games in the room. That's his, their uncle. So it was nice having my family. I don't have no family. Like, once we moved from New York, I lost all contact with my family, and my biggest family was on my dad's side. You know what I'm saying? He had 7, 8 brothers and sisters, something like that. And my dad passed away when I was 14. So that's a whole nother story. But I didn't have family. So the only family I had was my mother and my brother. So it made it real hard when they started shunning me. Now, I want to make a note that I never was disfellowship. I didn't become an apostate. I didn't even write that letter that some people write when they send it to Bethel, to let them know to take their name. I don't know. I didn't do none of that fucking shit. I just stopped going to the Kingdom Hall. So when my mom, she knew I was not trying to be a Jehovah's Witness. We would even have discussions and debates because somehow religion always come up, the Bible come up. And by this time, I'm well more versed in shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you come with it. You tell me about this happened, I'm going to come with a rebuttal about what's this, and that. And when she couldn't answer it, then my brother be trying to chime in and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I still was asking, how do you know the Great Tribulation, Armageddon's going to happen? Okay? You really believe in this shit? So we have debates about that, whatever. But we still got along and everything. And so for about a year, we was good. We was building a relationship. She even said that somebody in the congregation, I guess she told somebody she was like hanging out with her daughter now. And they were like, oh, well, she's worldly, you shouldn't be around her. And she said that she basically told that sister that, mind her business, and that, she was cool having a relationship with us. Well, let me fast forward after that. 2009, so a year later, they go to, Jehovah's Witnesses every year. They go to the, like a convention or whatever. So my mom wanted me to watch her dog and watch her, she was a Rottweiler, and she wanted me to watch Linda, my aunt. So I was like, sure, I do that. So I watched while she goes, cause the convention, we live in Sacramento, the convention's at the Cal Palace out in San Francisco. So I'm like, sure, it's gonna be for a few days, cause they stay out there. You stay out there for a few days or whatever, or you could drive back and forth, but my mom probably got a hotel or whatever. So I was like, okay, sure, no problem. So I was at the store and I wasn't at home. Kick it. So after the weekend, my mom sent over my brother's friend to come pick up my aunt Linda and to pick up her dog. She didn't call me or nothing. I was like, he came to pick up the dog and pick up Linda, and I'm like, okay, so my mom didn't call me. It's been so long, I can't remember if I'm sure I tried to call her number. She ghosted me. My mom fucking ghosted me, okay? She fucking ghosted me. I was like, oh my God. Oh my goodness. I can't even believe this shit. Like, I remember I tried emailing. So we didn't talk or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, she must have heard something at the convention and just ghosted me and was like, oh, I'm worldly, and she may be destroyed at the end of the, she may not be, she may be destroyed, or she may end up getting persecuted, whatever, because she's still talking to her daughter or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I can't believe this. And it hurt because it's like we had this relationship. It felt so good to have my mom in my relationship, just to be like, oh my God, I'm going to my mom's house right now. Or, you know what I'm saying? Oh, mom, you want to come over? We be drinking, we'll have some wine or whatever, So it just felt really good. And then all of a sudden, it's like, and I remember I was trying to get in contact with my family on my dad's side. Like, I was like, oh, I want to start having a relationship with my dad's side of family. Because, when you get older, you start realizing, you want a family. I got my 2 kids. And it's like, I said, that's the only family I have is my 2 kids. So... I'm trying to skip trace, look and everything. So I emailed my mom. I emailed her and I was like, hey, asking her if she had the names of some of my relatives. So when I'm doing my research, I'll have some names to go off of to try to get in contact with my dad's side of the family. And she never got in contact with me. My mom, that was 2009. This is 2022. So what is that? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, 22. I have not talked to my mom in 8 years. The last things we did, I went to my brother's graduation. He graduated from Sac State. My mom, that was 2000. That was right before we stopped talking. I think they graduated May of 2009 because that's usually graduate like in May or something like that. Then the whole thing going to San Francisco for the convention. After that, we had nothing. No communication. And I'd be damned. I was like, I wasn't gonna drive up to my mom's house. Every time I wanted to see my mother, cause damn, I miss my fucking mom. I used to be like, damn, do my mom miss me on my birthday? Even though we didn't celebrate birthdays, Mom, do you think about me on your birthday? On my birthday? Do you think about me? How can you not think about something that came up out of you? You know what I'm saying? Damn, my mom wasn't there. She didn't even know. After I had my son, in 1998, I went to visit my grandma and she had a picture of my son. Like my mom, when I said my mom shunned me so many times, so when somebody's like, oh, well, you should be the one you should always try to be the one to go see your mom. Let me tell you how hurt I was. After I got pregnant with my daughter, I remember that my mom, there was some other stuff in between. I'm trying to make this short because this video is already going to be fucking long. But when after I had my, before I had my daughter and I went into labor, my friend was like, you should call your mom and let her know you're going into labor because this is important and everything. And I was like, I'm not calling her. And my friend Lisa, she met my mom before. She called my mom and, my mom's like, she's not coming or whatever. And then when I had of course I wasn't going to let my mom know I was having a second child. Okay, you kidding? I was going to be judged and everything. My mom had 2 kids out of wedlock. Do you think that means shit? Do you think it means shit that she had a child out of wedlock while she was a Jehovah's Witness and stuff? No, she ain't going to look at that. Just that I'm a sinner. I'm a worldly person. She didn't even know I had a son. My mom found out I had a son because my grandmother, I sent her a big old 8x10 of my son when he was a baby. My mom asked her like, oh, who's that cute little baby? She thought it was like one of her friends, one of my grandmother's friends' great grandkids or something. And then she told her. That's how my mom found out I had a second child. My mom never wanted nothing to do with me. But even after she ghosted me, didn't talk to me, it's like, damn, you could have fucking, as a woman, as a mom, as my mother, to say, you know what? We can't be together, or we can't talk together. We can't be kicking it or nothing because I feel I'm not going to make it into the new system, or I ain't going to survive Armageddon, or God's going to destroy me or something in Armageddon if I keep talking to you. Just tell me that. Don't just fucking ghost me. You know what I'm saying? My mom missed so many milestones in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's like she missed, like, who don't need their mom? You know what I'm saying? My mom missed even if you don't fucking give a fuck about me, why you can't see? You got no other grandkids. You can't even see about your grandkids. You miss graduations. You miss football games. You miss college. You know what I'm saying? You miss. growing up, like we had no family. It was just me, my mom, and my brother growing up. Just like I mirrored that same life. It was me, my daughter who's the oldest, and my son. It was always us three. Us three. And even though I'm married now, at the end of the day, that's all really my blood that I have. And it's like, how can you? I was watching somebody's video and it made me so fucking mad when they were like, they were just basically saying they wasn't trying to bash their mama or whatever because they feel that she's a victim because being in that cult and everything, that you're the victim. My mom made a conscious choice not to talk to me. We didn't have to kick it. Okay, mom, we can't kick it or nothing, but can you at least say hi to me once in a while? Can you at least call me once in a while? She knew that all the women in our family never got along. My mother barely got along with her mother. My grandmother barely got along with her with Nana, with her mom. You know, so that's why I make a conscious effort to have a relationship with my daughter. We had some turbulence and stuff, but we good. It's like my mom, she know all we have is us. And it's like, we got no other family. And then she just decided, oh, I'm just gonna ghost my daughter? Your firstborn? I'm 50. You got a daughter that made it through life. I've been so successful in so many things in my life. My children, my business. Every day is a success for me. Yeah, I have my bad days, but every day is a success. I have a marriage to a man that I love. And the only thing missing is having my mom. And it's like, sometimes I be like, do I just drive? But there's a couple times I drove by her house, but I'm like, I'm not gonna knock on the door. And I know that this is so sad. I know this. I know this is so sad, but I can't even bring myself to find out if my mom is still alive. I don't even know if she's still alive. I don't even know if my mom is still alive. I would think, and I know some people gonna bash you for this, but like, I've been hurt so many times trying to build a relationship with my mother. Cause she's all I got. You only get one mom. You only get one. I'm so sorry. God damn, I did not plan on crying. I fucking hate that religion breaks up families. They don't, how can you break somebody up over religion? Over a belief. A belief is something that you decide is the truth. It doesn't make it real. How can you let religion tell you who you can? How can you let religion tell you that the child that came up out your stomach, that you carried for 9 months and took care of for 18 years, you can't even pick up the phone and say hi? How's my grandkids? Who the fuck want to be in a religion like that? I'm not even disfellowshipped. I just left. When you're disfellowshipped or disassociated, you're not supposed to, well, there's this fellowship, which means that you're still part of the organization, but the other one is excommunicated. I have not been excommunicated from that religion. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I really did not want to cry. I don't like crying in front of people. It just, I don't know. I don't know. I just have a hard time understanding that concept. Like, I couldn't even imagine not ever talking to my kids. Even if they did the worst thing possible, I would never stop loving them. I'd be like, damn, does my mom even love me? Does she still love me? I just, God, I wish I just even knew that. Like, does she still love me? Does she think about me? Does she ever be like, wow, I wonder where my grandkids are? Like, my fucking daughter's 28 and my son is fucking 24, and it's like, they don't even have a lot of family, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, obviously, no, you know, everybody got grandparents and stuff like that, you know. On all of our sides, all of our grandmothers passed. My son's grandmother on his dad's side passed. My daughter's grandmother on her dad's side passed. So family is just so important. It's just so important. Like I couldn't choose fucking religion over I'm sorry. I just couldn't do it, and I just wish somebody could make me understand. So I just wanted to give my story. This is my truth. This is my story. Excuse me. This is my story, and I didn't know it still. It just still hurts because, you know, you want your mom in your life. I get so jealous. I see people like, oh, you know, they have relationships with their mom still. It's like, you know, my mom, I guess she would be 72. I think she's 22 or 21 years older than me. You know, and she think about, I just would love to see her to see me that I'm not a bad person, even though I don't practice religion. So if anyone ever, if you decide to follow me, basically my channel is just my journey. It's my story. It's my life. That's everything that this channel is about. But if I ever say, because I know I'll probably offend some people who are very religious. I respect religion and I respect politics. I don't talk about politics, and I don't I'll talk to people about my beliefs, but I don't talk religion, and I don't do the Bible thumping and judging people or anything like that. Or my belief system may not be the same, it's definitely not the same as everybody else's belief system, because all the shit that I've learned and been through, I like having my mind free. I could tell you that the best thing I probably did was not go back to being a Jehovah's Witness, because I was able to keep my mind free. I enjoy the fact that I can go out and learn something and not have to be ashamed or think that there's going to be consequences because I read something. You know what I'm saying? I like to know that. I'm not out here killing nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here molesting no kids. I'm not out here doing horrible crimes like that. You know what I'm saying? When I say horrible crimes, like committing murders and shit, you know, or I'm just strung out on all kinds of shit and all that. Like I'm strung out on stuff. You know, yeah, I made some horrible decisions and choices in my life. I hold myself accountable to those things. But there's a lot of things that I've never done, you know, but I know that what it taught me is to not be a judging person. Like I don't judge people according to their lifestyle. Now we got the pronoun issues going around where everybody wants the proper pronouns and stuff. I don't have anything against those people. People, you want an abortion, don't want an abortion. Everybody has their own different views. I don't judge nobody. And that's the one thing that when I became free in the mind, I realized there's no need to be judging somebody for what they do. You know, I grew up jaded with so many, homosexuality and this is wrong, that's wrong. Shit. You know what I'm saying? People just don't even, it's just, I don't like judging nobody. I hate that because I hate being judged. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all part of a collective force. You know what I'm saying? We are all one. We're all individuals, but we're all one. We all are in the same collective energy. So, at the end of the day, you know, judging your fellow brother, your fellow sister, you know, is definitely not the way to go, because, I mean, like they said, you know, what is that goes, somebody, you can't throw stones or some shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, why would you judge the next person? But anyway, I know this video been too long. I just only wanted to make it 15 minutes, but I just wanted to give a background of my story. And please share in the comments if you also, I'm sorry if I keep looking back. I was just checking on, I have a new puppy and I was just checking on her. But please, if you were a former Jehovah's Witness, please comment that below. Comment that. I'm gonna do a couple of other videos too about this. But yeah, please comment that below. Comment your experience with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm very happy that my mind is free. I went from the cult to the occult. And occult is just basically information, hidden information. It ain't worshiping the devil. I don't believe in the devil, but it ain't what people think it is. But my mind is open where I study esoterics, I study voodoo, I'll study witchcraft, I'll study the law of attraction. Because at the end of the day, law of attraction, magic, is all the same. It's all manipulating energy. But anyway, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share this if you know someone else that is going through this or who's been through the same thing, you know. Yeah, just thank you for listening to my story, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Fool me once, fool me twice. When you're hiding things, might as well be lies. Can you ever get it right? How long will I let this shit fly? Hit up my girls, pull up, I'm outside.